Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another live ukulele jam. Not a live ukulele jam, that was Monday. A live ukulele lesson with me, Matt Stead. Sorry, I was on autopilot then. I hope you're all keeping well and the sun is shining where you are. Let's see who's around first thing. So, hi Pam. Chilly, damp day in Yorkshire. Yeah, it's not been particularly warm down here, I'll be honest. We've had the odd moment, but yeah, warm and sunny in Colorado. That's nice. That's where we need to go, everyone. Checking in from Rhode Island, sunny day. It seems like America. You guys in the States have got all the nice weather, I think. Hope you're all doing well. Hi Karen, hope you're doing well. And beautiful sunny Dorset as well. I think, oh goodness, I think it's just me and you Pam that have the bad weather at the moment. But that's fine. We can cope with that. So today we're going to have another live lesson and I'm quite excited about this one. Probably a couple of years ago, I think it was. Hi, Barbara. We did a really nice live lesson where we worked out a song live together, basically. And it was really successful. We did, I think it was Love Story by Taylor Swift we did. And it went so well. I thought, let's do a similar thing today. So what we're going to do is we're going to work out the classic song, Sweet Caroline, by Neil Diamond. The reason I chose that one is it has some really interesting chord progressions that we're going to learn about and talk about. And we did it in this Monday's Canacapilla, and I just thought it'd be a really nice one to try. If you joined us on Canacapilla, don't worry, we're going to do it in a different key today, so you still get to use all the methods used to work out a song by ear. And but if you did, don't be naughty and cheat and have the chords ready. Just have the chord sheets from today, guys. Hi Wayne, hi Sherry, hi Fran. I hope you're all doing well. So just a couple of adverts to tell you about. Remember that now with the Canacapillas, what we're going to do is we're going to do those every fortnight, but we are going to have one more Canacapilla Monday before we start that. So next one's not this coming Monday because I'm away on a little family holiday then, but the Monday after we'll have our Canacapilla. And then we're going to alter that with our new event, Melodic Mondays, which is where we're going to learn a melody. So first one, we're going to learn a piece by me, Pale Pale Moon, but then we'll learn some classical pieces, some Hawaiian pieces, all sorts really. As I say on the thing, everything from Beethoven to the Beatles. And then one last thing to tell you about, our next live lesson, which will be in 2 weeks' time, because we do these every fortnight, we're going to do St. Anne's Reel, a beautiful fiddle tune song that I'm going to show you how to play the melody, but then we're going to turn it into a lovely chord melody arrangement as well. And I'm going to dedicate that one to Karen because I know she's not French Canadian, but Karen's Canadian. And this reel, it originated, as far as we know, in French Canada. So should be a really interesting one. So that's going to be in 2 weeks' time on Monday, which is going to be really excited. Hi Victoria, hi Leslie, hi Linda. Hope you're all doing well. Don't forget you can still download your sheets at any point. They look like this. You can get them from PayHip for £5, but if you're one of my members of the website, which most of you are, you get them included in your membership. What we've got, just to talk you through it, if you haven't got your worksheets yet, don't worry, you can still take part. Just grab a blank piece of paper, or you can even just watch what we do on the screen. That'll be absolutely fine as well. We've got some blank measures, which is basically all the different measures from the song that we're going to fill in with chords that we're going to work out ourselves in a minute. Notice there's a lot of repetition, so once you've got one of the verses, you've pretty much got all the verses and so on. And je vous en prie, Karen. Hopefully I got that right. And then I've got the sheets filled in with the chord personalities. We're going to talk about this in just a moment, all the different chord personalities filled in. So that will help you if you get stuck when you're at home. And then I have got the answers in the key in terms of the Roman numerals. Don't look at these too soon. And then also in the key of G. We're going to do it in C just to be different, but I've done it in G as well, so you can transpose it later. And then finally, on your last sheet, I'll keep this up for a minute, we've got all of our chord personalities. So learning these chord personalities, the reason I bang on about them all the time is this really opened up music theory for me, and it really allowed me to understand songs. So sometimes when I'm listening to a song on the radio, I can work out the chords fairly quickly just by thinking about these chord personalities. The easiest way to think about it is that most songs feature chords chosen from the natural chords that come up in any key, and any key has 7 different chords, just like it has 7 different notes. So for instance, the key of C major, which loads of you know, if I just play that on my uke, okay, that's C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Well, we can think about that as notes, but we can also think about that as chords. And the natural chords that come up in any key, the first one's a major, C major, next one minor, D minor, next one minor, E minor, next one major, F major, G major, 5 chords are major again, 6th chord minor, and then 7th chord a diminished or a half diminished. So that means if you imagine a composer like an artist, they might have a palette where they put the different colours on that they're going to use to create the paintings. And generally there would be 7 colours, just like this, okay? And you'll notice I've even given them different colours because anyone who has that kind of synesthetic thing or thinks quite visually, this really helps. It helps me, that's the way I like to think of things. So we've got these 7 colours on the palette. We've got, in the key of C, C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, and then the B diminished. So, and no matter what key you're in, each of these chords retains that flavour, if you like, that kind of personality. So let's just remind ourselves ever so quickly of the different chords and flavours. Now, I've given them their fancy pants musical name in capital letters next to them, such as the supertonic and the median and the subdominant. You don't really need to know those right now. They're just a technical term and they can be useful later on. But if we have a look at them, we've got the 1 chord. That's our home chord, makes us feel settled. So in the key of C, that would be your C major chord. Wherever we go in this key, it kind of always wants to come back to the chord. So that's our home chord, the tonic that we start a song off from in many cases. Then we've got the 2 chord. In this case, it's a minor chord. We've got D minor. And that's an interesting one. I call it the upbeat minor chord because even though it's a minor chord and minor chords tend to be sad or dark, this minor chord, if you put it together with the 1 chord, can actually sound quite happy and upbeat. So when it works as the 2 chord, that D minor is quite an upbeat sounding chord. So an unusual minor chord, that one. Then we got the 3 chord. In this case, in the key of C, it'd be an E minor. And that's our sad minor chord. In any key, that 3 chord has a sadness to it. And I can show you that if you grab your uke, if you've got your uke handy, just play a C chord with me, just your general C chord. And then change to an E minor. Do you notice that? It should tug at your heartstrings a bit. It has that sadness about it, that 3 chord, which is really interesting. To prove that it works in any key, let's try a different one. In the key of F, F will be the 1 chord, F, G, and A minor will be the 3 chord. So if we play F to A minor, do you feel that sadness of the 3 chord? And it works in any key, that 3 chord, and as with all of these, they retain their personalities, so that 3 chord has a sadness to it. The 4 chord is one of our most common chords, and quite often in folk songs and pop songs, the 4 chord will come up in a verse just to create a bit of change from the 1 chord. So I often call it the change chord. It creates a bit of change, but not as much drama as the 5 chord. Okay, not too much tension. So you'll often see a lot of folk songs going between the 1 chord and the 4 chord, and you notice they're kind of like pleasant bedfellows. Try playing a C and an F. They just work together beautifully, don't they? They're just like really, really nice major chords. And to prove that works in any key, in the key of G, G would be the 1 chord. G, A, B, C. C would now be the change chord, the 4 chord. So try playing G and C. Again, just a really nice, simple transition, right? That sounds lovely. Then we come to the 5 chord. This is all about creating tension in a piece of music. In the key of C, that would be a G chord. So even though it's played as a major chord, if I play C, then F, then G. See how it feels like it's asking a question that wants to be answered by the 1 chord, C. So the 5 chord likes to go to the 1 chord. 1, 4. When I hit the 5, feel that resolution to 1. And what we can do is we can make that 5 chord even more tense by turning it into a dominant 7th. Again, don't worry about the theory too much. That just means rather than playing a G, we play a G7. That's all a dominant 7th is, a G chord with the flatted 7th added, and it just creates tension. So now if I do that again, C, F, G7, it pulls even harder back to that 1 chord. So 5 chord tension. Makes you want to go back to the start. We're nearly there, guys, and then we'll start learning the song. The 6 chord is melancholic. It doesn't have the sadness of the 3 chord, but it's not as quite as upbeat as the 2 chord. Because it's a relative minor of the 1 chord, every major key has a relative minor, C, D, E, F, G, A, and it's based on the 6th chord or the 6th degree. So quite often it's used to create some change from the 1 chord, but with a touch of melancholy. Classic example of this is if you play a C chord followed by the A chord. It's the start of Hallelujah, isn't it? Dun, da, 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 da. David played me, please the Lord. So we get that change like you get with the 4 chord, but it has a touch of melancholy to it. Not as sad as the 3 chord then. Then finally we get some kind of diminished chord at the end, either a half diminished or a full diminished. A B diminished 7 is the one that we would most often play in the key of C on ukulele. And those are your kind of jazzy sounding chords. Kind of cool and jazzy sounding. They tend to come up in jazz music, but sometimes blues music, occasionally pop music, but not so much. They're often used to join together chords as well. So let's have a listen to Sweet Caroline. I'll just play it in the background. It may or may not come over the speakers too well, but I'll play the chords for you on my ukulele so you can hear it better as well. So when we're working out songs, the first thing we need to do is listen to the track. We'll just do the start of the track. Now, you don't want to work out chords straight away. There's a couple of things we need to do first. And for me, the obvious one is working out what kind of time signature we're in. Is it a waltz, 3/4? Is it common time, 4/4? Is it something weird like 6/8 or 12/8? The way to do that, we play the song and just literally clap along. Here we go. Let's see if this will play. There it is. I'll just turn that up a bit. Okay, now let's kind of clap along. 1, 2,
where it began,
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2.
I can't begin to know him, but then I know it's growing strong.
3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what time signature do you think that's in, guys? Let me know in the comments. It'll take a little while because there's a slight delay in the comments coming through into my computer. But just let me know what time signature you think that is. Now, sometimes people ask me, how do you count time signatures? Because how do you know if something's like kind of 6/8 or 12/8? You know, how do you know the little differentiations? One of my favourite things to do is to listen for the pulse. And if you listen really carefully, listen for the drum, and you'll notice that it does something different on the first beat of every measure. I'll play it again. See if you can listen to that drum.
Where it began, I can't begin to know it, but then I know it's growing strong.
Hear that that nice ba-dum at the start. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3,
And spring
4.
became
1,
the
2, 3,
summer.
4. 1, 2, 3,
Who'd have
4. 1,
believed
2, 3,
you'd
4.
come
Okay, yeah, you've got it. So we're in the common time 4/4. Well done, Karen, Linda, and Pam. I bet loads of you got that, but you three were first. So your teacher's pets. Well done, guys. So we're in common time. That's really important because in a minute, when we come to look at actually writing the chords in with each measure, we need to know how long to play those chords. So we're going to break it down into little chunks of music, 4 at a time. One of my favourite quotes, regular students of mine will have heard this all the time because I love it. Louis Armstrong used to say that music is just counting to 4 over and over. And it's true, in common time, we just break up music into little chunks of 4. That's what we've got here. And it makes it easier to kind of plan what we're going to do. Now, I've done this next bit for you because it's really laborious to do in a live lesson, just drawing out loads of lines again and again. But what I would do next, if I was doing this on my own and I'd never done it before, is I would write down how many of those measures there are in different lines as we go through the verses. So if I just give you one example, if I go back, we've got that kind of intro first. We'll just skip past some of that. And then we'll play the verse. Just take a second. And then you just count along the measures. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's your first line. 5, 6, 7, 8. That's the second line. 9, 10, 11, 12, third line, 13, 14, 15, 16. Feel the change here? We're into the bridge or the pre-chorus there. So for instance, I could then on my sheet draw 4 lines of 4, which is 16 measures. And most songs, they tend to be in 4, 8 or 16 measure sections. That's how musicians like to break things up. Again, chunks of 4, which is interesting. And you can go through the whole song like that and identify different sections. So I could tell that the song was going to a new section then because the melody changes. We've got this hands, holding hands. Let's just identify that. Here. Different feel, right? So this is our pre-chorus.
Reaching out, touching me, touching you.
And so good, so good, so good. There we go. Anyway, you get the idea, right? So what we'd do is we would go through the song and we would identify sections. Now, if the verses are identical, which they tend to be in songs, you don't need to write it out all over again. Just put another verse, pre-chorus, same thing basically. And this is what we've got with the structure for Sweet Caroline. I've done it for you just to help a little bit. So we've got an intro, the first verse, that pre-chorus, that's the touching hands bit. And then we've got the big bombastic chorus, and then verse, pre-chorus, chorus. interlude, which is just another like introduction part again, and then another 2 choruses, and that's it basically. So next up, the next important thing is to identify what key we're in. We're gonna work that out ourselves first, and I'm gonna give you a method for that. But then what we're going to do is we're going to change the key to a more friendly ukulele key, and you'll see why in a minute. But let's just have a go at working out what the key is. So basically, we know that we're in. Let me just. Leslie's asked a good question. How do you know if it's a pre-chorus, chorus, bridge, etc.? A lot of it is just kind of semantics, Leslie, just what different people call it. But generally, the verses kind of have that building, just kind of setting the scene sort of feel. So you can hear that, da, 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 just a nice gentle. A pre-chorus, a lot of songs don't have them, some do. A pre-chorus is a little section before the chorus where things start to build and you feel the tension rising. And here you'll really hear it when we work out the chords in a minute with that hands, holding hands. You can kind of feel it building and building. So we call that pre-chorus basically. Sometimes that's called the bridge, confusingly, whereas in the old days, what we call a chorus, people would have called a bridge. And nowadays, most people think of the middle 8 section where it changes. We don't have one of those in this song. Some people think of that as the bridge. So it's really, a lot of it's semantics. Things have changed over the years. But yeah, just think of verses like setting the scene, pre-chorus, that building tension before we get to the chorus, and then the chorus is where you can kind of instantly recognize the chorus because it's really tends to be quite anthemic, and you'll get repeated lyrics, things like that. So you'll kind of start to identify these sections as we go. And an interlude really is just a section with no lyrics is the easiest way of thinking about it. Sometimes that can be a longer kind of instrumental. In this song, it's just 8 measures of 1 chord, actually, in actual fact. So we'll see that in a minute. So that's the way I think about it. So what we need to do then is identify what key we're in, because remember I said every composer will start with a palette, and that's the 7 chords that they'll pick from to build their song. Sometimes they'll steal chords from other palettes, but generally it stays within those 7. Well, we need to know what palette we've got, what key we're in. And there are 12 main keys. You can just go through the alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then it goes back to the start. The reason there's 12, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, is we've also got the flats and sharps in between. So A sharp, B, no B sharp, weirdly, it's just a way we divide music, C sharp, and so on and so forth. So it could be one of those sharp or flat pitches. But let's have a look. Let's think about how to work out which one of those 12 it is. My favourite way to do it is just to listen to the start of the verse and see which chord it feels most rested on. I'm going to listen, then I'm going to I'll play a couple of verses, and then I'm going to say where I think it feels most rested. This is just the intro. Just ignore this for now. I'll explain this out.
Where it began,
there it feels rested to me.
I can't begin to knowing, but then I know it's growing strong. Wasn't the spring,
so the one chord, not always,
and spring became,
but the one chord in a key tends to be what we start off on a verse. So next up we think, okay, we know that we're going to use the first chord of this verse to try and ascertain what key we're in. Let's try some. So what I would do then is I would go for major chords first, because the start of this song, it doesn't sound sad, does it? Let's just have a listen. It's kind of...
where it began.
It's kind of jolly, right? So we know we've got major chords. We're not in a minor key. It's not a really sad sounding song. So let's go through some major chords and see which fit. Now, believe it or not, this is really easy peasy lemon squeezy. My favourite way is literally just to go through all of the major chords starting from A and see if it fits. Now, you could play this at the same time as the music, like so. I could play an A to test. Oh no, that doesn't fit. A B flat? No, that's not fitting. And you could just go for each one. We're looking for where it began. No. That one sounds familiar. But you could go through each of them. A, B flat, B, C, C sharp, D. You could do E. And literally just go through. There's only 12, so it doesn't take that long. And see if one fits. Now have a listen to this. I'll do it again. Something is drawing me to this chord. So I think that first chord might be B. So what I'll do is I'll test that. Get your B ready. Yeah, it's a B chord, right? We've got that B at the start. And if I try any other chord, it will sound rubbish. Let me try a C. Oh, sounds terrible. Let's try another one. Just try a D. No. Then one more time. Let's go back to that B. Yep, there it is. So that B chord is our one chord. It's starting off this verse. So where we began. So what I want you to do is on your sheets, if you've got a physical version you can draw on. If you haven't, don't worry, I'll send the results out. What I'd like you to do is I would like you to, let me just bring up my version. I'd like you to write on the first bit in the verse. I'd like you to do it very small in the left-hand corner, like so. I'll bring my iPad on so you can see. Where's it gone? Where's my iPad not showing? Let's just see if I can bring that on. Maybe it needs plugging in. Sorry, I'm just going to plug this iPad in so you can see what I'm doing. That should do it. Okay, let's see if it's there. It is. Okay. So what we're going to do just here on this bit here on the first verse, just very small, I'm going to write a little B down there. Okay, and you can do that on your sheets. That's the first chord. Okay, so we're in the key of B. Okay, now the reason I'm doing it small is that you'll see in a minute that B is a horrible key to play in, so we're going to change the key that we work it out in. But let's just go for that in a minute, just to kind of make it make sense. Just checking, is the sound coming through all right? I've got a funny just trying to play through my iPad. There we go. Sorry if you lost me for a bit there. My when I plugged my iPad in, it tried to put the sound through the iPad. So yeah, sorry if I lost you. I'll just go back and show you again. Just put a little B in that first part of the first verse. Keep it small because we're going to change the key in a minute because the key of B is horrible to play in. All right, but we can just put a B there. So we know that the original song was in the key of B. Okay, so let's think about how do we work out what chords come up in the key of B. Well, you could Google B major scale. That'd be one way of doing it, wouldn't it? And that would work. Oh, you did hear me. Oh, cool. Thanks, Karen. I don't know what happened there. It's a bit weird. So you could Google it. Absolutely fine. You know, that's not a problem at all. Or you could use a little mnemonic or something to help you remember it. So all major chords follow this pattern. All right. I'm going to tell you what I mean by it in a minute. We've done this before in other lessons, but I really believe in cyclical learning. I remember that crazily as why won't he wear, sorry for my terrible writing, white when hot. Why won't he wear white when hot? That's how I remember this. So basically any major scale is constructed from whole steps, which is the difference between C, C sharp and D, for instance, and half steps, which is just one note, C to C sharp. So any scale is built from these. So we can actually build our own scale, even if we don't know it. Wrong camera, there we go. Okay, so let's try building the key of B major together. You'll see why it's a horrible key in a minute, all right? But let's just have a go. Okay, so I'll come back on here. What we'll do is we write down the 1 chord, B, because that's where we're starting. And then we would start to apply this. So I would go a whole step. That's B, C, C sharp. That's my next one. I go up another whole step. C sharp, D, D sharp. Then I go a half step. That's only one note along. That's E. I go up another whole step. E, F, F sharp. Look at all these sharps. Crazy, right? Then I go up another whole step. F, F sharp, G, G sharp. Another whole step, G sharp, A sharp. And then finally this one at the end, this half step, that just checks you've got it right. So when you put your next one down, that should be a half step. So there, just using that one little formula, whole, half, whole, half. Why won't he wear white when hot? Or sometimes people think of it as tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. It means exactly the same thing. Well, there we've got all of the chords in the key of B. Okay, I'll keep going to the wrong one. Sorry, guys. Now remember, we discussed this at other lessons and the last one. Don't worry about the theory too much, but the 2 chord and the 3 chords tend to be minors. The same with the 6 chord. Okay, no, sorry, I've done that wrong. I've put that on the 5 chord. Same with the 6 chord, which is this one here. And then the 7th tends to be a diminished or a diminished 7, all right? So that gives us all of the chords. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in a particular key. In this case, it's the key of B. Now, why don't you get many songs in the key of B? Well, first of all, look at all those sharps. All of those chords we would have to play. Lots of sharps and sharp minors, which are really awkward to play on ukulele. Not quite so bad on guitar, because a B chord's a bit easier than on ukulele on guitar, but still quite tricky. The way Neil Diamond does it is he actually plays in the key of, I think it's A, and then he uses a capo, so he kind of cheats as well. So, you know, it's a really unusual one. But these are the chords we would have. So then we would go back to our sheets. I'll bring them on the page. These are just the blank ones, all right? So this isn't the ones that I'm filling in. I'll send these on to you guys later if you're interested. So we would think, okay, we've got that first chord. In fact, what I'll do, I'll go back to it on my iPad. Give me just a second. Where is it? Here we go. We've got our one chord to start with, which is B. So we need to think about what's going to be the next chord, okay? Now, I've already hinted at this. Do you remember in folk songs, I said that, and pop songs, we tend to pair the 1 chord with the 4 chord because they go together really nicely. They're 2 types of major. So that's the most likely chord to come up next, I think. It could be a type of minor chord, I'm not sure, but I think probably that 4 chord's most likely to come up next. And what we can do is we can just try it. So if I go back to my other page, give me just a second. Bit awkward this changing between pictures on my iPad. Let me just flip. There it is. There we go. So what would the 4 chord be in the key of B? It would be E. All right. So let's see whether that's the next chord. We can try it with the music in a minute, but just beforehand, let's just try it. We've got B. Where it began. Let's try an E. This is an awkward chord, isn't it? 1 finger here, 3 fingers up here on the 4th fret, top 3 strings, or you can do a backwards bar like this. I can begin to know in. Well, it already seems to work to my ears. where it began. I can begin to know when. Okay, let's try it with the record so we can hear whether that's working. I'll just play it. We'll come back to the intro in a minute. Let's just play it. There we go. Why is that not playing out loud? Do do do. Bum ba-dum, bum ba-dum. Give me just a second. Do 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 do. Where's my settings gone? Sorry guys, I'm just trying to work out why my iPad's not playing now. I think it's tried to do something super clever. Let's just see. Sound. Give me just a second guys. Sounds. And we want that to go to there. Bluetooth connected. Okay, that should be working. Let me just try switching this off and on again, see whether that works. Bum, bum, bum. I think it's trying to play it through my computer program. That's why it's gone a bit doolally. Let's try that again. See whether it's back. There it is. Okay.
Where it began.
So we're gonna test it now. I'll get my B and an E ready. Tricky chords, but if you want to join in, get your B ready like this, and then we'll just get ready for. We'll play the whole introduction to warm us up.
Where it began.
Yeah.
I can't begin to know it.
Yeah, it's working. It's working. Fantastic. Now, what we would do, yeah, Karen just made a good point. If you don't want to work out your major and minor scales, if you use the scale reference sheets from Canacapilla, it's got all of them written out in the back, so it's definitely well worth a look. Good thought, Karen. Yeah, and Google's your friend as well, so you don't have to work them out. But isn't it cool that even if you didn't have that resource, you could work out any major key? I think it's really nifty thing, really. So let's go back to my iPad, and I could write that in because I know that that's the next chord. So let's just see. I'll grab my pen so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. I would write in, it's two measures of B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Then I could write in E for the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you just need to start thinking what is happening in the song next. So let's have a listen. If anyone can guess what the next chord is, let me know. You can get some brownie points. But let's just listen. Think about the personality rather than the chord itself, and you can work it out. Let's go back. Luckily, it's not too long an intro. Okay, here we go. So the 1 chord,
Where it began.
the 4 chord,
I can't begin to knowing, but then I know it's growing.
now to my ears it goes back to the 1 chord again because it's the same chord as the start.
Where it began.
4 chord,
I can't begin to knowing,
back home.
but then I know it's growing.
Let's test that. Try B, E, B. Where it began, I can't begin to know it.
But then I know it's growing.
That's it. Now, of course, you might think, well, I'm helping you out a little bit too much. I'm giving you the answers here. But at the same time, if you think about it, you could do that yourself, because even if you weren't sure whether it's the B chord, you could just play all through all those key chords in the key of B, B, C sharp, D, and so on and so forth, and see if it fitted. You could literally just try one out at a time and see if it fitted. But for our purposes, we know now that we've got a B there. So we've got the 1 chord followed by the 4 chord. You could even write in the Roman numerals if you wanted. It can be a cool thing to do. So 1 chord followed by 4 chord, back to 1 chord. And then let's have a look. There's one more chord in this verse. Now, have a listen to the next chord that we need after the B chord. Let's bring it back and we'll have a listen again. Okay. Do, do, do. Okay, we'll just take it back. Here we go. So, one chord.
Where it began,
4 chord.
I can't begin to knowing,
1 chord.
but then I
What about this next
know it's
one?
growing strong.
Okay.
Wasn't the spring,
Let's have another listen.
and oh, it's growing strong.
What I would do at that point is perhaps go back to our chords that we worked out that are going to be in the key of B and see which one fits. So that's one way of thinking about it. Let me just bring that up to show you again. This is my messy, this is so messy this. But we've got 1 chord is B, 4 chord is E. Let's see which of the next chords fit. So where it be, where it began, that's my B, then E. I can begin to know in another B. Da 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 da. And then you can just go through all of the chords. C sharp minor, it's a really awkward one to do. No, it's not that. D sharp minor, da 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 da. No, that's not working. Is it another E? Da 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 da. No. What about F sharp? Da 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 da. Oh, that seems to fit. The F sharp. Now that looks like this. Again, we're going to do this in a different key in a minute, so don't panic when you see all these horrible chords. But an F sharp, we just play a normal F and we take it up a fret like this. Okay, that's our F sharp. It's and loads of you have guessed it. You've guessed it right. And don't worry if you didn't all get it right first time. It takes a bit of practice to do this. But if you said F sharp, you got that right. Or the 5 chord. And Leslie, it's interesting you said sab minor because the words da 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 da. They do have a sadness about them in terms of the melody at that point. So I can totally see why you'd have chosen that one. But we have got F sharp. You've got it quite right. So it's an F sharp, the 5 chord. So you can test it just by playing it through. I'll do it just to save a bit of time. You can play with me if you like. So B to start with. 2, 3, 4. Where it began, E. I can begin to know in B. But then I know it's growing strong. Yeah, it works. So we know that we've got the chords to the first part of the verse. Let's have a look. I'll write that in. So that's going to be here. We're going to do our 5 chord, which is F sharp. Now look at these chords. I mean, the E chord, everyone absolutely hates the E chord, don't they? It's an awkward one to play. F sharp is not easy at all because you've got to play a bar chord. So what I would do if I was working on this song personally is I would change it to another key where the chords are a little bit easier. And that's what we're going to do in a second. But first of all, I just wanted to show you one little neat trick. You might look and think, oh my gosh, look at this verse. We've only worked out the first 2 lines. But all songs feature loads and loads of repetition. I'm going to get you to listen to the first verse one more time and really concentrate on listening to the first half of the verse and the second and see if it sounds familiar. Let's give it a go. Okay, I'll talk you through it again. Yeah, Linda, good old 1, 4, 5 chords. Yeah, most common chords in any key. First half of verse. 1.
Where it began, I can't begin to knowing, but then I know it's growing strong.
Now, does this second half sound kind of the same?
Wasn't the spring, and spring became the summer. Who'd have believed you'd come along?
And there then we got something new, the pre-chorus. But this is where you can save yourself a lot of work, because if we know that verses tend to repeat themselves, we can save a whole load of work by just copying the chords. So notice that second half of the verse uses exactly the same chords as the first half of the verse. Now, believe it or not, that's pretty much half the song, because this song is mostly just verses and choruses, little bit something else that we'll look at in a minute, but mostly just verses and choruses. So there we go. That's all of the chords to the verse written out there. B, E, B, F sharp, B, E, B, F sharp. That's 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 4, 1, 5. Incidentally, that's one of the most common chord combinations in all of music. Those 1s and the 4s and the 5s, all the major chords in the key. It sounds nice and pop-tastic and upbeat. And Linda highlighted it there, which is lovely. Okay. Now, those chords in the key of B are really tricky, aren't they? Let's just have a reminder. We've got B, C sharp minor, D sharp minor, E, F sharp, G sharp minor, and A sharp diminished. Those are horrible chords to try and play. So we could use a capo on our ukulele and just kind of use a different key, and I would go up or down. But I prefer to actually think about transposing into another key, and this gives us a cool exercise as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our original sheet. I'm going to bring it back on the whiteboard here, but this time I'm going to write out the chords in the key of C. Let's do them. I'll do them in red here. So C would be our one chord. Then we start applying this. We'd have a whole step, C sharp, D. We'd have another whole step, D, D sharp, E. Then a half step. There's no E sharp, so the next half step would be E to F. Another whole step, F, F sharp, G. Another whole step, G, G sharp, A. Another whole step, A sharp, B, and then we can check this half step at the end that it goes back to C, which it does. And then remember, all of the chord qualities remain, so the 2 and the 3 will be minors, as will the 6, and the 7 will be an unusual diminished or a diminished 7. Now look at those chords in the key of C. They are eminently more playable, right? I think I might have chosen a weird word too. Adjective there, but much easier to play. I bet you could play all of those chords in the key of C, right? So much easier. So let's work out the rest of the song in the key of C to keep things simple, so that basically, if nothing else, I don't have to spend hours and hours describing all the chords, because they're really hard to play. Now, instantaneously, this shows you how to transpose really quickly, because some people will try and work out, okay, we're changing from B to C. I can then count up a whole step, and same thing with other keys, and they get into a muddle with counting chords. But as long as we've got this handy, we've got it written out. And again, you can use Karen's sheets in the back of the scales reference chart as an example. We can start to work it out in the key of C really easy peasy lemon squeezy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to this sheet again, and I'm going to... It's good luck that we wrote down these chord qualities up here, like 1, 4, 5, etc. Because what I can do now is I can write those out in the key of C. The 1 chord was C, wasn't it? The 4 chord was F. The 1 chord C. The 5 chord was G. And then we do the same again, right? Exactly the same. You can write this on your sheets if you want to. We're going to mostly do this in the key of C, so these are the ones that you really want to see. Okay. Now, of course, I can't play along with the original using those chords. So if you wanted to play along with the original video, you would have to use the original key. But let's just play through just to show you how they work. Notice my uke's gone slightly out of tune, so bear me a sec. It's the worst thing in the world watching someone tune. I'm so sorry. It suddenly got really warm in here, and I could hear it going out. Okay. Luckily, I've got an electronic tune, so it didn't take long. Okay, right, let's try that to see if that works in the key of C. Okay, so we're going to use these chords here. So C, F, C, G, again and again. Let's try it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Where it began, F, I can begin to know in C, but then I know it's growing strong. It's working, right? See? And spring became the summer. Who'd have believed you'd come along? Yeah, fantastic. Now we're cooking on gas, right? Because we've got a key that's really comfortable to play in, and we're kind of understanding these chord personalities and what happens next. So let's work out the next bit in the key of C. So we're going to go to the pre-chorus now. That's your hands, touching hands, holding hands, all that sort of stuff. So let's have a listen to the original and just see what kind of tensions we've got, what's happening in the original. Let me just play that one more time. Play the end of the verse. Okay, here we go.
And spring became the summer. Who'd have believed you'd come?
Oh, come on, Neil. Don't quit on this. There we go.
Hand, touching hand.
Feel that building tension.
Reaching out, touching me, touching you.
And then all that tension, sweet Caroline, all that tension builds it beautifully into the chorus, doesn't it? Which is really lovely. So this pre-chorus is all about kind of building tension as we go. Now what you can do is you can start to think about your chord personalities here. In fact, let's bring it up on screen. There we go. Bum, 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 bum. So you could start to think, here we go. Remember the verses, we had the home chord, that's one chord. Then we have the change chord for a bit of variety. Da 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 da. Then we had the home chord. Da 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 da. And the 5 chord for tension. Da. And then we had again. Da 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 da. The change chord. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Now this next chord is quite tricky to spot. I don't know if you heard that, but it's a really subtle one, so don't worry if you didn't get this, and I hadn't mentioned it yet. But notice at the end of the verses, just before the pre-chorus, we have the 5 chord G, but then it's played as a G7 as well. That's quite hard to hear, but it's just there. Let me see if I can go back and see if you can hear it. Obviously this will be in the key of B now, but just listen out for that.
Who'd have believed you'd come along?
There's the chord. And then it changes just there. It's really difficult to hear. It's kind of suggested in the bass as well more than anything. But I think it sounds great to turn that 5 chord into a bit of extra tension. So when I go back to my iPad, let's get rid of this a sec. If I go back, what we're going to do is just write in here a G7, because it just gives that extra tension. That's that extra tension before it gets to the verse, which is lovely. Okay, I'll bring this back again. Then we can think about the chord personalities that's happening in that next section. It starts with the 1 chord again, doesn't it? Oh, well done, Leslie. That's great. It takes a bit of getting used to, but eventually you'll hear that clear as day, and you'll be like, ah, that's the change. Yeah, you hear that it wants to go there. Okay. So the next bit, I've put home chord there because when I play this, it kind of feels like it starts from the 1 chord again. I'll just play the verse for you. Where it began, I can't begin to know it, but then I know it's growing strong. 'Twas in the spring, springtime became the summer. Who'd have believed you'd come along? Hands. It feels like it just goes to another one chord, doesn't it? It goes to the home chord. And you can always test that, of course, by playing through all the chords in the key of C, see if they work. So that was hands. You could try playing a D minor. Hands. No, that's not working. An E minor. Hands. No. An F. Hands. No. You could literally do this. Hands. And you'll just see that only that one chord, hands, fits it, which is great. So that gives us the answer for the start of this this next section. It's the home chord, isn't it? So let's do that on our sheets. Let me bring back my iPad. We'll start. Oh gosh, I keep doing that thing where I draw by accident. There we go. Scroll up. Okay, there we go. So let's put the home chord C in here at the start of the chorus. Hands. That's 2 measures of that. Then we've got another chord, touching hands. Now again, what you can do is you can go through each of the chords in the key of C and see what fits. Play a C before it. Hands. Try a D minor. Touching. No, that doesn't work. Hands. Touching hands. No, that doesn't work. Hands. Touching. Closer, but it doesn't have enough melancholy, that 4 chord. Hands. Touching hands. Does anyone think they've got it? Hands. Touching hands. Yeah, there it is. It was a 6 chord. So a power of deduction, you can just go through the chords one after one, and we can notice that the 6th chord fits that A minor. Now that's really cool, because if I go back to our sheets where I put the different chord personalities in, you notice that makes sense, because we've got home, hands, melancholy, touching hands. Yeah, that nice melancholy, which is lovely, isn't it? So exactly right. Yeah, well done, Joe. You got it. That A minor. Brilliant, brilliant. Then we've got the tension, holding hands. What chord gives us tension in a song when we do our chord personalities? It's the 5 chord, isn't it? Touching hands. So we can test that, see if it works. Let's play C, A minor and G. Hands. Touching hands. Reaching out. Yeah, so we know that's working. Fantastic. So we can fill in the next chord, and hopefully you're getting the idea of how you can do this, and how the main thing is, I just want this to be really empowering for you. If you want the numbers, that's 1, 6, 5. Okay, now you could do the power of deduction thing again, just go through all of the chords and see what fits next, or you could do a bit of detective work. Notice that in the verses, the song's largely made up of the 1, 4 and 5 chords, and that's the same for most kind of songs that come along here. So you could probably guess that the next chord is going to be one of those, 1, 4 or 5, and the only one we haven't used out of that is the 4 chord. So that would be my place to start checking whether it's the one that fits. So let's try that. What would the 4 chord be in the key of C? C, D, E minor. It'd be the F, wouldn't it? So what you can do is you can try that. So this would be C, A minor, G, and then an F. Hands, touching hands, reaching out, touching me, touching. Yeah, so we've got the next one as well, which is fantastic. We can put in that F, which is brilliant. That's the 4 chord, and the reason why it's more likely to be that than any other chord is it just creates that sense of change. but it doesn't have a ton of tension on that one. It's almost like tension's relieved slightly there, isn't it? Which is great. Yeah, you can also tell, yeah, higher in pitch as well. Yeah, you've got it. It's kind of going upwards in pitch there, isn't it? Which is lovely. And of course, remember, you've got these sheets to help you, so you can use your core personality bits here to kind of help you think what comes up next. Then the very last bit, we've got some tension again, and you really, really hear it in this bit. If I play the song again, really listen out for the tension at the end of the pre-chorus. It builds and builds and builds. Here we go. Let's have a listen. Sorry, here we go. There we go. So we've got home, melancholy of 6, tension of 5,
Reaching out,
bit of relaxation,
touching me,
and then loads of tension.
touching you.
So we know it's got to be the 5 chord, hasn't it, right? Because that's the tension chord. So you can kind of, the more you do this, you won't even have to think about that one. That one's so sort of clearly the tension chord. So let's write that in next. Yeah, Joe, you got it. It could be a G or a G7 here. I think I'm going to play a G for now and just see if that works. I think the G will work probably best, but you could try both. I think both would actually work. The G7 just adds a bit more tension. All right. Let's try playing through this. I'll keep this on screen, actually. Just come in with me after 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hands, A minor, touching hands, G, reaching out, 4, F, touching me, 5 chord, touching you. Then we've got a really kind of nifty little bit where you just get a little bit of movement. Da 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 da, bum bum bum, sweet Caroline. So we can suggest that in the chords as well. There's a little bit of change going on here. Now, hopefully you got the hint that I did there. I'm going to put these in because we know it's mostly a 5 chord. There's another little chord in here that just creates a bit of change from the G chord. What chord do we use to instigate a little bit of change? What do you reckon, guys? What could it be? That sounded really patronising. I hope it didn't come across that way. But just think about that change chord. What would it be? What's most likely to fill in that gap in the song there? Come on, guys. Type it in the comments. You've got this. It's just the delay in coming through, guys. But you'll have this. I'll just play through that pre-chorus one more time whilst someone gets to be teacher's pet. Hands, touching hands, reaching out, touching me, touching you. Sweet Caroline, ba ba ba. So we've got the 5 chord already. Joe, you're doing so well today. Joe's the winner winning chicken dinner there. And Karen, well done, guys. It's an F because it's that change chord, just a slight bit of change. Now, interestingly, again, sometimes you can get really close to it. Angela, an A minor would work, wouldn't it? Because it's only 1 note different from F. So there's very little difference between the A minor and the F there, Angela. So actually, if your ears heard A minor, you're not far off there at all. But yeah, we've got an F chord. Let's stick it in then. So we've got that written in as well, just at the end there. So we've got F. There we go. Now we've got most of the song now because we've only got a chorus and then that little instrumental to do. And believe it or not, that instrumental is just 1 chord over and over and over. So let's just see if we can work out the chorus. Even if we don't finish it, I can leave it for you guys to work through as homework. Now, again, when we go to chorus, A strong chorus tends to start on 3 different chords. The relative minor, the change chord, which is the 4 chord, or it will just go back to the 1 chord again. So those are the 3 chords that I would start with here to check them whether they work. So the relative minor is the 6 chord. The change chord, we know because we've used it loads, is F. And the 1 chord is just C, isn't it? So let's just see what fits over sweet. So we've done da, da, da. Reach it out, reach it out. Sweet. What's that chord? Sweet Caroline. You can try it. Sweet. It's not the relative minor. Sweet. It's not the F. Sweet. It's the 1 chord. So again, just a bit of deduction there can help you to fill it in. So let's just do that. We'll put the 1 chord in the chorus. And again, you can just have a listen to the original, just kind of go back to your core personalities, and you can start to fill in the rest of the chorus as well. So let's have a little bit of a cheat and we'll use our personality chords to fill in the rest. So this sheet here shows you the chords from the choruses in terms of the personalities, the home, the change, and then home again. So what I'm going to do now is something a bit unusual. I'll bring that up so you can see it bigger. I'm going to play the song, okay, and I want you to listen out for those changes. I'll say them as we do it. It will save us time. And then I'll talk about these descending chords in a minute because they're really, really fun. But just listen to the chorus. Okay, I'll play it just through without me blathering over the top first. This is the end of the pre-chorus.
Touching me, touching you. Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good. I've been inclined to believe there never was, but now.
Okay, one more time. I'm going to shout out chord personalities as we go. Here we go.
Touching me,
Here we go.
touching you.
Home, change, home, change,
Good times never seem so
and tension. Bum, 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 home, change, stay on change. And then we've got some fill those descending chords at the end. So what we can do is we can just kind of work out the chords from there. Home chord, sweet, is the 1 chord to get started, so C. Sweet Caroline. And then change chords, the most likely anyway, isn't it? Just like in the verse, which is F. Sweet Caroline, ba, ba, ba. Good times never felt so. The tension, good. Home, sweet Caroline, bum, bum, bum. So it's mostly just that home, change and tension chords. Now, the only thing that makes this song really difficult, and this is why I've filled these in to help you a little bit, is that it has these bum, bum, bum quick chord changes. All right. So you kind of just have to experiment to get them. So I'll go through the start of the chorus on close cam so I can show you. So we've got the home chord for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we've got the 4 chord. 1, 2, 3. But we have a quick change just to that home chord, the 1 chord, just for 1 beat. It's a tricky one, that. Sweet Caroline, 2, 3. Good times never felt so good. Tension of the 5 chord. All right. So if you're doing that on your sheets, let's just fill it in. It would look something like this. Let me just get my my pen ready. Okay. So C, And then, oh, I haven't brought it up on screen. Da, 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 da. Okay, so we got the 1 chord and then the change chord, sorry, F. Then it just goes back to the 1 chord just briefly there before going back to the change chord. And then we have the tension. Sweet Cara, change line, bum, bum, bum. Good times never felt so good. And then the tension of 5 chords. Then we have a kind of a similar thing that happens after the change chord. We've got a little kind of backwards bit again where we go that 3 chords quickly. So that's this line here. All right. So just notice we have this little section here. Okay, where it just changes briefly. And of course, what chord do we use for changing and creating a bit of variety? It's the 4 chord, isn't it? The F chord. So that kind of almost gives you the answer without even looking at it. Don't worry if you're not getting all this, guys, because I realise I run out of time, so I'm talking very quickly here. But that gives you this little bum, bum, bum bit here, which is really nice in the chorus, and you hear it. And just remember, the reason it was most likely to be that chord was because that's the change chord. It creates a bit of variety between these 2 G chords. So G, G, F, G, it's most likely to be that change chord. The only reason it wasn't the change chord when we're in the first bit is because it was already in use. So where is it? Here. If we have a look here, the reason with the change chord, I guess the change chord is creating a bit of drama because it comes just before that home chord, but it's kind of already in use. That's why we have to revert to the home chord for that bit. Basically, you can fill in the rest of the chorus just using this technique. See if you can use my chords here to help you. Now, I wanted to show you one more bit, these descending chords here, because these are the bits that could catch people out. But at the same time, they're really, really fun and it sounds so nice. And it makes sense when you hear them as well. So at the end of the song, we have, I kind of call it a descending chord little section coming out of the chorus. And I call them descending chords because they sound like they're going down in pitch. It almost sounds like he's sighing, ah, at the end of the chorus. Have a listen. Let me just bring it back. There we go. Just move forward a little bit. Tension. Ba 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 home. Change home change. Just come out here. Okay, so you can really clearly hear those chords descending, can't you? Let me just go back just a little bit. Now, this is really cool. Hopefully this will kind of excite you. I hope it does. It does for me anyway. Now, the way I think about those patterns is where you want to end up, and then we go backwards from that. What do I mean by that? Well, let's go back to our key of C that we wrote out just here. There it is. Now, we want to get back to this 1 chord because this is the chord that we use at the start of the verse, right? Da 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 da, dee dee dee, ma da 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 da. So we know that's where we're aiming for. Now, where are we coming from? Let's have a look at our sheet again. We're coming from the 5 chord. See that at the start of the 3rd line down where it says change. And we're going towards the 1 chord. All right. So let's think about the chords that we could use to come down to 1. Now there are 4 chords in this bit. Da, 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 da. And then we start on the verse on the 1 chord. So you can kind of just think of it like this. No worries, Sherry. See you again. Take care. Can always watch this back later. So you can think 4 chords before C. Well, it's got to be these four if they're coming down in order, right? Because we've got da, 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 start of the verse. Bum, ba, da, dum. That's really cool. You can clearly hear it coming down. And that happens in tons of songs where you play the chords from the key, just one at a time, either going up or down. Bob Dylan loves to do this. Like a Rolling Stone, it has these upward progressions, and then after the pre-chorus, it has these downward progressions. That's what we've got going on here. So that last bit, if I just come back to my other sheet for a second, we can fill it in now here and write it on. Sorry, this is so messy, guys, but let me just fill in this last bit. All right. So these chords here, we're coming down. We're going G, F, E minor, D minor, and then that takes us to the C at the start of the next verse. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Really nice, isn't it? So listen out for that in songs. See if you can have a listen for these little descending chords. Ba, 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 ba. And then we would go to the chords, basically. Fantastic. Yeah, so so yeah, that's why a lot of work goes into these. Of course, the thing is, Karen, I know it sounds I'm not blowing my own trumpet because it took me years to learn this stuff, but it doesn't take me this long for every canacapella because I can just hear the changes, so I can write them a bit quicker. But yeah, I am going through that process in my head every time we do the canacapella sheet. So yeah, and the best way to do it is just to try it. So after you've had a go at this one, pick another song, like a folk song or a blues song, something that you know is not going to have like a million chord changes in it, and just see if you can do it. Find the key, think about these chord personalities, and see if you can work it out. You've got your crib sheet with the chord personalities to help you, basically. Now, there's only one bit from the sheets that we hadn't worked out, and that was the instrumental in the introduction. Now, this is really cool. If you listen really carefully to it, the intro and the interlude are exactly the same. They're just the same thing over and over. Let's have a listen, in fact. Let me just bring it up. Here we go. It's all right, my YouTube's just gone somewhere different. There it is. Here it is. Now this is really tough, right? This is the bit that threw me as a professional. This introduction, because it sounds like the chords are going upwards. It sounds like it's going up, doesn't it? So you might think there's loads of chords in here, but in actual fact, it's just one chord underneath. And what's happening is we're getting layers of harmony. We've got one chord, and then you've got a melody note that comes over the top, and then a trumpet part here, and then a trumpet part higher. But the underlying chord stays the same. And if you listen really carefully, you hear it in the bass. See if you can pick out the bass guitar, and you'll hear that it stays on one chord. That bass hasn't changed note once in that whole introduction. It's that one kind of the one note over and over. That's your friend. Listen to the bass. In fact, there's a great music teacher called Victor Wooten, who I've told many of you about before. He had this brilliant book called The Music Lesson. And I saw a brilliant presentation that he did one time where he said, what you should try and do is listen to a piece of music by one of your favourite bands and just listen to one instrument for the whole time, like just the bass, just the drums, just the guitar, just the vocals. And it's really interesting because you'll hear things that you've never noticed before. And that bass is our hint that the chord isn't changing. I'll do it one more time. So all these other things are coming in over the top. That's it. Okay, now what chord are we going to put there for the whole of the intro? Now I'm going to get you guys to guess, and I'm going to give you some hints. So the chord is all about building tension. So think about what chord in a particular key builds tension. And we want that tension to build and build and build, and we want it to release to the one chord in the verse. That's your next clue. What chord likes to go to the one chord? It kind of has that kind of tension and then resolution. So have a think about it. Yeah, I love Victor Wooten. I'm a massive fan. I actually lent the book to one of my students yesterday, funny enough, Joe, my student Colin, because I was telling him all about it, and I thought the only way to explain it is to get someone to read it, I think, of that one. So yeah. Oh, nice, Karen. Well done, well done. So that chord for the intro, it resolves to the one. It's building tension. Wayne's got it. It's the 5 chord. Now in the original, that's an F sharp, which is really hard to play. In the key of G, you got it, Leslie. In the key of G, it's nice and easy because it's just a G chord. All right, so what we're going to do for that one, we're just going to put a G in. Let me get rid of this. And bring in this, bring it on the screen. So if I just go back to the verses and back to the intro, and this will be the same for the interludes, guys. Yeah, you got it, Pam. You got it exactly right. Yeah, and Karen, brilliant, brilliant. 5 chord to the 1 chord. You got it. So for this whole of this intro, it's just a G chord. Now you could write it in each one, or if you just write it, know that this chord stays the same. You can play that as a G7 as well. Sounds really nice. Or if you like, you can just turn the last one into a G7 for a load of tension, which works as well. Laura, it's like you read my mind. Yeah, absolutely right. You can use a G7. So actually, you're right, Laura. That works beautifully. So it could either be Gs or G7 there, just building. And again, it sounds weird, doesn't it? 1 chord. But if you think about it, if I kind of sing the melody bits over the top, it's hard to do. Da 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 da. Let me get my key. Bum ba dum bum ba dum bum ba da 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 dum bum ba da 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 da. Where it began. Yeah, you've got it right. So we've got our answer there. It's just a G chord. You can turn it into a G7 if you like. That's it. That's how we do this stuff. I just really wanted to kind of demystify it for you because I thought that was really, really important to do. And what I would love you to do is to try this with some other songs. See if you can, first of all, work out the key, work out the time signature, work out the sections, and then fill in the chords. And you'll notice we did quite a lot at the start on working out the key and the sections because everyone concentrates on the chords, but the key signature, the time signature, and the different sections of a song are really key to understanding how it works. So there you go. That's how we do it. And in terms of structure, I've written it here so you can just see it over and over. So I think what we should do to finish off is let's have a look. I did it in the key of G at the back as well, so you've got a different key. This page here could be really useful because if you want to work it out in a different key, this is all the Nashville numbers. So these are the chords that we've got in here. So notice that I like to do, like Laura suggested actually, I like to do that 5 chord as a 7th at the top. Oh, sorry. There we go. That's brilliant, Leslie. That's what we want. We want it to sink in. I say this to all my students. Sometimes you've got to kind of, sometimes you've got to watch a video several times before you get it. I find that with the jazz stuff. But just to finish off, what I've done in the back is I've done it in a different key again, which is the one we used for Canacapilla the other day. I've done it in the key of G. So what we're going to do to finish off, let's play through Sweet Caroline in the key of G. So we can all just have a go at playing it. All right. So it starts with the D7s, then verses G, C, G, D, nice and easy. Chorus pre-chorus relatively easy chords. And the key of G is a friendly key. The only one that's a little bit difficult is on this descending chord pattern. Let me just show it you in the key of G. We'd have D, C, and then B minor, it's barring the 2nd fret, 3rd finger up here on the 4th fret of the G string, and then you can pull that back. So D, C, B minor, A minor, okay. And now when we get to the different verses and pre-choruses down here, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, we just repeat what we did on the last page here. All right. So what I'll do is I'll kind of flip between the two, so you can see I'll go from here to here, and then I'll try and flip back as we go. All right. Let's just have a little bit of fun and see if we can play it together, guys. So get your D7 ready. We're in the key of G now, not C. All right. Let's give it a bash. Here we go. And that's what we want, Pam. Fantastic. That's exactly what we want. Yeah, good on you. Here we go then. 2, 3, 4. Ba-da-dum, bum, ba-dum, bum, ba-dum, bum. Ba-da-da-da-G. Where it began, I can't begin to know it. But then I know it's growing strong. Feel those different chord personalities. Was in the spring, and spring became the summer. Who'd have believed you'd come along? Section of the 5 chord, pre-chorus. Hands, E minor, touching hands, tension, reaching out, change, touching me, tension, touching you, do, 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 sweet Caroline. Good times never seem so good, tension. I've been inclined to believe they never would. Down we go, but oh, and we get another of these interludes. I think we put it in there, but oh hum, I'm playing one anyway. And then get ready for another verse. Da 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 da. Look at the night, and it don't seem so lonely. We'll fit it up with only 2. And again. And when I hurt, hurting rolls off my shoulders. How can it hurt when I'm holding you? Pre-chorus. Warm, melancholy, touching warm, tension, reaching out, some relief and change, touching me, tension, touching you, da 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 da, sweet Caroline, ba ba ba. Good times never felt so good. I've been inclined to believe they never would. Oh no, so on and so forth. You get it. So what I want you to do, take that and try it in some different keys and see if you can work out all of the chords in a different key. I think that would be a great exercise to do. Now, if you printed these sheets off, what you can do is just print off another copy, and when you get to this bit, see if you can do it in a whole other key. All right, remember you've got the personalities to help you, so you can just copy them over. But see if you can print it off again and maybe do it in the key of, I don't know, maybe you could do it in the key of A, would be quite good. That's quite a nice one. And see what you can come up with. And what I'd love it is if anyone gets a chance to, thanks Joe, if anyone gets a chance to, post your videos of yourself doing it in different keys on the Facebook group. So Uke Students Hang Out, Learn Ukulele with Matt. If you haven't already joined that group, it's well worth joining because we all support each other, play some videos and some songs, and people give us some real good sort of encouragement. It's really nice, and you can record your progress, which is a great thing to do. Thanks, Angela. So check it out. That's Uke Students Hangout. Learn Ukulele with Matt, and I'd love to see some of you post your versions of Sweet Caroline on there. That would be really, really lovely. If you enjoyed that, this is basically what we do in quick form. So we don't do 2 hours per song, you'd be glad to know, but we do this in quick form on our Can a Cappella Mondays. So this is every other Monday at 6 p.m. UK time. You can join me and we learn how to play by ear like this using the Nashville numbers. It's a lovely way to play because it teaches you to start to work out how music works, which is fantastic. And don't forget, we're alternating those with our Melodic Mondays, where we're going to learn some beautiful melodies, and that's starting on May the 5th. All of the details of these are on our website over here, mattsteadukulele.com. You'll find 10 sequential courses there, so all of the courses go through in order and you can record your progress. We've got a beginners course, which I think is 30 videos. It's quite a long one, that. Intermediate, next steps. Then we've got lots of fun other types of courses. So we've got a Beatles one, a jazz and blues one, Uke TLC, how to look after your ukulele, a fingerstyle one, all sorts on there. And it's £12 per month or £10 for the silver option. Learn Ukulele with Matt, mattsteadukulele.com. The prices went up last month by £2, but if you're already a member, don't panic. Whenever I say that, people think, oh my goodness, it doesn't apply to you, only new members. So once you've come in at a particular costing, it never changes for you guys, so you get really good value. And also don't forget, in 2 weeks time we've got another one of these fortnightly lessons where we're going to learn a beautiful old-time fiddle tune, St Anne's Reel. It's one of my favourite fiddle tunes of all time. You know how a lot of fiddle tunes are just 1, 4, 5 chords? This one features some beautiful minor chords, which gives it a sense of melancholy, which is absolutely gorgeous. So do check that out if you can. I'm really excited about that one. And as I say, the reason we've got the French and the Canadian flags up there in the background is it's a French-Canadian song, we think, written probably in the 20s or 30s, and performed by a quite famous Canadian fiddle player. I forget his name right now, but it came out of the French-Canadian area, which is really interesting. But then it made its way down to Nashville and the Appalachian Mountains, so it became a bit of an old-time standard, which is lovely as well. So do check that out in 2 weeks' time. Eventually, what I'd love to do is release a book of all my old-time fiddle tunes, because we've done quite a few now. Things like Wildwood Flower, I'll Fly Away, Redhead Boy, all that sort of stuff. And I'm going to put them all together in a book. So if you enjoy that, let us know, and we'll get that book going, which would be great as well. Should be a Quebec flag, not France. I did think that, Karen. That's the one with the blue, isn't it? Like the white and then the blue. I did think about that, but I just thought I'd go for French Canadian. Literally just pasted 2 flags together. But oh well. Hopefully you'll enjoy it anyway. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Leslie. Now, Leslie, just before we go, because hopefully this will make you laugh before you go, I once wanted to say something about ukers, and I put it on a Facebook post and posted it, and I didn't know that autocorrect had changed it to something else. Now, you can use your imagination what it changed it to, but all I will say is it added an F, and I was ever so embarrassed. I had people emailing me to say, Matt, you're not normally sweary. It's like, it was meant to be euchres, not that. So, oh my goodness. How embarrassing, how embarrassing. Autocorrector, it gets us into all sorts of trouble, doesn't it? So, yeah. Oh, thanks, Pam. That's great to know. That's great to know. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking, Karen. The blue and the white with the fleur de lis. It was a bit busy as well. It's a beautiful flag, but it looks a bit busy behind all the other stuff. So you'll have to forgive me on that one. But yeah, it's interesting. I need to learn more about Canadian history for sure. So yeah, oh great, thanks, Karen. Thank you. At some point, I'd love to. Do like an old time kind of little residential bit like they do at Sawfingers. I think that would be loads of fun. If you haven't heard of Sawfingers, it's happening this week actually, and they get loads of bluegrass players. And they get fiddle players, banjo, mandolin. I think they even do ukulele now. And they all meet up in this country house in the Cotswolds, not far from where I live, actually. And I know they're there this week because I sold a mandolin to a man. I went and met him in a pub halfway there earlier in the week. So yeah, that's called Sawfingers. It's a really great residential. I'd love to do one myself, just concentrating on ukulele at some point. So we'll get there eventually. Well, thanks everyone for all of your patronage and support, and for turning up and listening to me rambling on for 2 hours. It wasn't meant to be quite as long as that today, guys, but as always, I ramble on and on. Thank you massively. I won't see you on Monday because remember we've got a break from Canacapila because it's bank holiday this week. But we will be back the week after for Canacapila, and I will be doing the Melodic Mondays on the bank holiday that follows. I am going to work that one. It's just this weekend is the long Easter weekend, so we're away. So take care, everyone. And remember, if you can't keep up with all this stuff, just go to either the Facebook group where Karen does a brilliant little calendar of what's happening, or check out the live lesson section on the website and you'll see all the stuff there as well. Take care, everyone. Much love and uke on. Bye. Easter Bunny. Yeah. Take care, guys.